Hello, traders. This is Chris from bestbrokers.com, taking a look at the famous and well beloved MetaTrader 4 platform. I have already downloaded the MetaTrader 4 platform from a broker, and the broker happens to be IC Markets, but there are plenty that still use MetaTrader 4. Keep in mind that there is a MetaTrader 5 out there, so MetaQuotes itself doesn't necessarily offer the program anymore. So, for example, if you go to metaquotes.net, they'll talk about MetaTrader 5. However, there are a lot of traders out there that still use MetaTrader 4 for a variety of reasons, not the least of which might just be habitual. But they also have a lot of robots, indicators, and the like that all run on MetaTrader 4, so perhaps they are a little hesitant to switch. If you find yourself wanting to use MetaTrader 4, perhaps for one of the reasons where you have software you want to add to it that only runs on MT4, then this video will explain a lot of the ins and outs of the platform. That being said, IC Markets has already sent me a demo, uh, information, and the account number, password, etc. So in this case, I am on demo server 2. Some brokers will have a bunch like this. Some might only have a live and a demo account server. But nonetheless, we click on next after we've select the server. And then we add an existing trading account in this case because I already have the account number. But if you don't, some will let you just go ahead and click on new demo account and just go from there. So I will paste this in here for my email. Same thing over here for the password. You can see that if you click save password, the next time you jump into the platform, it'll just sign in for you. I'll click finish and I'll let it load up. And you will hear a bunch of different bells and chimes. Um, but really, at this point in time, it is just in its rawest form. So I have shrunk the platform so that it fits within the screen, and you can see that there is a readout here in the corner that tells you that we are in fact connected. You can see that the numbers are changing as far as the download speed, etc. So you can also see that there are a bunch of charts here, and the beauty of MetaTrader is going to be the charts. The charts are favored by traders around the world, and quite frankly, they're better than a lot of paid software. So that is definitely one of the major features. The first thing that we will talk about is charting. So let me go ahead and X out of several of these charts and show you how these things set up. In this particular case, I have the Euro US dollar. You can see up top there is a toolbar that has the time frames. Now, MetaTrader 4 comes with these set time frames. MetaTrader 5 is a little bit more flexible. You can add like a 10-minute time frame, for example. But it is what it is. And quite frankly, most traders can use one or the other. It doesn't really change much. So when you've got a chart open like this and you want to customize it, you can either right click on it and go to properties, or you can click on the charts submenu and then go down to properties. And this brings up this window. There are a couple of built-in color schemes. So, for example, yellow on black, and you can see it gives you a preview window here. Black on white, and green on black, which is what we have right now. So I'm going to go black on white, and then I'm going to change some colors to the way I like them to appear. So a bull candle, I want the candle to be lime green, and you can see it shows the preview here. And a bear candle, I want it to be red. So essentially I have green and red candlesticks with a black outline because that's what the bars are. So I click on that and you can see the chart has changed. Another way that you can change the chart is to simply change the type of chart. So right now we have a candlestick chart. You can click up here and change it to a bar chart. And then you'll notice when I had been in the properties, the bar up, bar down were black. So watch what happens if I change this to, I don't know, blue. So it's showing me the candlestick, right? But watch this when I click OK. Now, all of a sudden, the candlesticks are blue that correspond with the bar up. I'm going to go ahead and change that back to black. That's what I like as far as the colors are concerned for a bar or a candlestick. Now, some traders like to have a little bit more room to kind of see how the chart is playing out. So you can click this button here and it shifts it from the end of the border. So it's got a little bit of a gap. Or you can go to the charts and then the properties, click on common, chart shift, and there you go. As far as moving the chart, you can hold your button down and just drag right along. However, it will auto scroll unless you take that off. So go to properties. So leave shift and auto scroll unchecked. Now we're back to the way it was originally, for example. And then you can just kind of drag it and say, okay, well, what was going on back here in the month of January? I'm going to click shift and auto scroll again. And now I am going to look at this moving average, and I will click on it with the right mouse button, delete indicator. I will get back to indicators, but for now I just want you to see what this chart looks like. You can zoom in or zoom out based on the plus or minus buttons at the top. But another thing that you can do with these is create a template. So to pull up a chart, let's go over here to the market watch window, and it shows all the various markets, and I will right click and then click chart window. Well, notice this looks completely different than this one over here, and that's because I haven't saved this one. So let me go ahead and X out of this, and I will go to template, save template, and then if you type in default and save it, watch what happens when I open up the same market with the chart window. It's the exact same layout, so that becomes your default layout. That being said, I could go to another template. There are some that are typically loaded in with the platform. So in this case, I'll do ADX, and you can see it changes the chart completely because it's got a built-in kind of preview demo template, if you will, if you like using the average directional index indicator, for example. You can either click the X to get out again, or you can right click and close. So I will right click on a couple of other charts, and then you'll notice that we keep cascading these tabs. Another thing that you can do with these charts is click on this button up here, and it'll arrange the windows in non-overlapping tiles. So I press that, and you can see it cleans all of this up. You can see that everything is separated. In this case, it's 2 by 2 because there's 4 markets. But if I add another chart window, it goes on top of that. So you have to press this again, and now it's 2 by 3, but it does the best job it can to keep it in this same area. The different parts of the platform can be adjusted, so I can make them a little bigger if I drag down the terminal area. So the next thing that we'll talk about is how to read the market price. I'll go ahead and close a bunch of these windows. But you can see over here it's clearly highlighted in the euro against the US dollar at 1.05848. Or if you have the options and you have one-click trading, you have to accept the terms. And it allows you to just press these buttons, essentially, but it also will show this by default. It will ask you to accept those terms every time you select one-click trading. And one-click trading just simply means you can click on this and buy it, whatever the size is. So, for example, if you have a quarter lot, you can click on that, you can buy it or sell it, etc. Another way you can read the price is to go over to the market window, and you can see that there are symbols there. And these symbols represent different Forex or commodity or stock pairs, whatever you're trading. And it gives you a bid in and an ask. You can right click on this and you can select sets. You can remove certain ones. You can go to symbols and it'll show you everything that you have the ability to trade. So let's go to crypto and we look at this and we say, okay, well, Bitcoin. I want to trade Bitcoin, so I click on that and I can hit show. Or what I can do is I can right click on this if I want to see everything and just click show all. And then now this list gets infinitely longer. You can see like the Italian 40 index, the Japanese 225 index, etc. Some brokers have them color coded, some don't. That will vary depending on where you're at. So you can see, for example, Solana, the bid price is $231.74, and then the ask price is $232 dollars and 75 cents or so. This is how you can keep track of the pricing of the markets. You can remove individual ones, so you can click hide, it'll make that one go, etc. Another thing that you can do with MetaTrader 4 is take a picture of what's going on. So for those of you journaling, for example, you may look at this and say, I like this setup. I took a long position, whatever. I want to know, how this turns out, and I want to save it for posterity or just to study. So you can click on File, and you can click on Save as a Picture. And it will pull this up, and it'll say Active Workspace, which would be the area that you're in. Active Chart, as is, and then the size if you wanted a specific size. This is something that you can post the image online at the MQL5 chart service and get the link, or however you wish to do it, depending on the journal. Sometimes you can just type the link in and it'll pop up in your journal. This is for those who really like to study their past trading. To use the drawing tools on a chart, it's pretty straightforward. There is a quick bar up top that has a couple of different types of lines. So for example, the horizontal line, you click on the chart and you double click it to make it active. You see the little bubbles at the end of it, and you can just drag it to wherever you want. Or you can right click and go to horizontal line properties and type in this specific value that you are watching. So you type that into the value and you go to common. You can change the color a whole litany of other things. And you can see it goes right to where you want it. You can double click on that line to make the line no longer active. Trend line, very much the same thing. You click there, you click on one spot, you kind of drag it out to where you want it, and then you let go. You can double click, grab one of the bubbles, change the trend line, and it, of course, um, changes the same way the horizontal line does. So if I want it to be a different color, then I just put on the color. You can change to dashed or even the thickness. So you can see that the line is thicker than the other one because I changed this thickness, etc. There are quite a few other tools that you can do. So um, you can draw like an arrow up. So let's say you bought here, you click on this little symbol here, you click on the arrow symbol, you click on the arrow up, and you can see it appears on the chart. You can right click on that, arrow properties, you can make it thicker, which in turn makes it bigger actually. And so you can do that. You can go to draw text or draw text label. You can click on that and you can say something like bought here at 11 p.m. You can change the font and the size and all that. And for example, you could just drag it right underneath it and it tells you you bought here at 11 p.m. using these two markup tools. So you'll notice that over here we have the plus and the arrow. The arrow is what I'm using as to get around the charts, but you can also do the plus, which is actually a crosshair, and you can see it changes. And all of a sudden, it's a crosshair. You can use it to visualize support and resistance horizontally or whatever. But another thing that you can do is, for example, up here at this double top, you can click and hold and then drag, and you notice the crosshair is not moving, but the actual point of the crosshair is moving, and you'll see numbers coming up. And these numbers mean different things. The first one is the amount of bars. So right now it says 27, which is 27 bars. And in this case, it's 27 days. You can see 2431. So 2,431 points. And then 1.09541 is the price right there at that juncture. So again, you can see that 49 days ago we had peaked. We are at 1.0599 or so. And it's dropped over 6,000 points. So that's another handy little tool. Another way to get rid of drawing is to simply click on the objects list, right click and go down that menu. And you can see that if I click on that, you can edit it or delete it. And once I do, that particular object, the horizontal line, disappears. And I can do the same thing with all of them and just go through and I have a clean chart again. Another thing that you may want to do, one of the biggest reasons that this platform shines is you can use an indicator. So click Insert Indicators and you can choose by group. So for example, trend, moving average. I will go ahead and use a 50 moving average, simple or exponential. Let's do exponential. It's red. That's fine. There's no need to change that. I click OK, and you can see a moving average appears on the chart. I can right click on it, change the properties. So maybe I want it to be black instead. So I click on that and you can see it changed, or I can just right click and delete indicator. What happens if you have a moving average and perhaps some other indicators like the MACD, and you can see that the MACD is in a separate window. Notice you can click, hold, and drag to resize that. And, maybe something like a rectangle. You'll notice that the rectangle You click and you drag and it shows up. You can change the colors and everything else like you can with pretty much everything else um, on this platform. If you click draw object as a background, it'll let the candlesticks sit on top of it. So generally speaking, you want that. So you can see the candlesticks, but if you don't draw it as a background, these candlesticks will actually disappear. So let's say you have an object, a couple of indicators. Let's go ahead and put another object and let's do another indicator. Okay. So you've got a lot of stuff on your chart. You want to get rid of it. The easiest way, instead of going through and clicking everything, is right clicking, go to objects list, just select everything like you did before. And you'll notice that the rectangle and the thumb are both gone. You can right click and go to indicators list, and it will show each one via which window it's in. Moving average, we delete that, it disappears. Money flow index, we delete that, it disappears. That window will disappear. And then MACD, we get rid of that, and we're back to a clean chart. Okay, so there are a ton of different ways to enter a trade, but there are just a few common ones. The most common one would be to just simply click the order button up here. And if you remember earlier, I had the one-click trading checked, so it allows me to do that. And it went in and it bought immediately in the market. Now, down here in the terminal, you'll see the trade, and it will update in real time. It tells you the price, the stop loss, take profit, etc., the commission that you paid, for example, and it just goes back and forth. But notice there's an X over here, so you can close out of this position by clicking this X, and there it goes. So pretty straightforward, but you can also trading via right click on the chart, and then you can go and put a sell limit, buy stop, where you're at on the chart. It goes by where your cursor is when you right click, or you can click new order. Now, new order, here's your size. You can do market execution and put a stop loss in. So let's say our stop loss is 1.04 and our take profit is 1. And let's just use that. Now, you can do a pending order, and it can be a buy limit, sell limit, buy stop, sell stop. So let's do a buy stop at price. So it'll ask you what price you want to buy this pair at. So let's do 1.06, and then it'll ask you when you want it to expire. You can expire during the day. You can expire 6 months down the road, whatever. So let's go ahead and place. And you can see that there is a little bit different look to the trade window now, because it says buy stop, but it's down here. It's underneath the actual readout of how much is in the account. If I want to exit this trade, I can click the X. I can right click and modify or delete order. So let's say that my stop loss, I want it to be 105.01. I can modify and it changes it on the chart. And of course, you can just X out of it. Again, you can just simply enter the trade. And then if you choose, you can highlight the trade, right click it, and trailing stop, and you can do a custom or a prearranged trailing stop. So in this case, I'll do 40-point trailing stop. So a trailing stop will just, once I get 40 points in profit, it will start to drag right along with it. That being said, trailing stops are a little bit difficult because you can get a volatility spike taking you out of the market only to turn around and go in your favor. So generally speaking, most traders have gotten away from trailing stops over the last couple of years. I'll go ahead and close out of that. And then you can go to account history. And then I will size the window appropriately so we can see it. And you can see that it tells you everything that you've done so far. You can change last 3 months, custom period, all history, etc. And it shows you everything that has happened in this account so far. Okay, so let's go back to the possibility of another trade. And let's just say we want to buy the Canadian dollar against the Japanese yen. Well, remember, the one thing that I would point out is you can right click on the order and you can modify or delete the order just like you could the pending order. In this case, since it's a live order, it'll be a little bit different. You can change your stop loss either manually or just put in a 20-point stop loss from the menu as an example. You could make it a 10 and then you click the buttons and then you'll notice the modify button comes up and it allows for all of this to happen. Another thing that you may want to look into is adding custom indicators because after all, that's one of the biggest things that people like about MetaTrader. So I have downloaded an example one, and you'll notice it's an EX4 file. That is the language of MetaTrader 4. It's actually MQL4, but EX4 is the file. You copy it. So let's go ahead and get out of that. And then you want to go to File, open Data folder, click on MQL4, indicators, and then you will paste in that part of the folder, close out, and then I'll restart. Okay, so I have restarted the platform, and now I can go to the navigator and look on indicators. And if I keep going down the indicators, there will be a whole list of them, but the one I wanted to use was called My Price Action. I drag out here, I click OK. A lot of times you have to allow DLL imports, so just be aware of that. And then it'll give you some options as far as color. I'll just click OK. And then you can see that in this particular case, this indicator produces signs based on particular price action. Now, what the indicator is doesn't really matter, but you can see how easy it is to add to the chart. If you right click on indicators list, you can see that it's there. You can get out of it just like any other indicator. So MetaTrader 4 is a very widely used program for trading. And truthfully, if you know this one, you know most of MetaTrader 5. A lot of the improvements in MetaTrader 5 were more or less under the hood. There are some major differences as far as like being able to customize, but the nuts and bolts of MetaTrader 5 are very similar to MetaTrader 4. So if you find a broker that you like, that for whatever reason doesn't add MT5 quite yet, it's neither here nor there for 99.9% of traders out there. This is a workhorse that's been around for years, and there are literally thousands upon thousands of both free and paid indicators that you can add to this platform.